Hey, what's going on, guys? What's going on? I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's so good to see you. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and this is what I do called Dr. Boyce Daily, where we talk about things that are happening in the financial markets and stuff like that. Now, I want to say hello to everybody, and I want to ask you all a question really quick. How many of you have heard about the shooting death of the CEO of UnitedHealthcare? Did y'all see that? It was pretty crazy. It's pretty bad. It happened right in Midtown Manhattan, which is even more insane. And a lot of people have been kind of spooked by this. It seemed like it was a targeted hit, though. And I think his name was Andrew Witty, Witty, and it looked targeted. It looked like they pretty much, okay, AR says that was my wife's boss. Well, I'm very sorry to your wife. And it was one of these things where everyone was sort of like, okay, so what happened here? Like, why did they kill this guy? And I think it's always important with the police to sort of give a reason why, because I think right now New York has a damaged reputation because of what's been going on with quite frankly, illegal immigrants coming into the city and stuff like that, kind of taking resources, and people are afraid of the criminal consequences of this, right? So anyway, with this targeted hit of Andrew Witty, it also led to an interesting conversation about the healthcare system. From what I've gathered so far, it looks like the police are drilling in on a motive. And the motive, apparently, they claim, it seems, is that there are people that are just really, this might have been a guy who was just really mad because of something bad that happened with healthcare insurance and coverage and things like that. And I thought about that because, right now, I told you guys my mother's kind of dealing with some stuff and everything. And there were conversations where we were like kind of asking, like, okay, so you're telling us that this treatment she's not a candidate for this treatment. Are you saying this for medical reasons, or are you saying this for financial reasons? And this is one of the dark sides of capitalism. This is one of the reasons why I'm not a big fan of us becoming hardcore capitalists, because capitalism pushes you to do things that are pretty much inhumane. It's inhumane to say that either you pay the money or you're going to have to die, or that we don't have enough money to keep these people alive, because we live under a premise in our society that human life is of the utmost value, that there's no amount of money you can put on a human life. But that's clearly not the case when you're talking about capitalism. Now, let me give you guys some stats really quick in terms of why this assassination should lead to a conversation about the economic motivations behind the healthcare system, right? Just sort of why, why is it that you can't be a you can't be a high level CEO at a healthcare company without knowing that your life is in danger? I will just say that when you're talking about something as delicate as people that are sick and dying and losing loved ones and all that, and all you're focused on is that bottom line, you're going to have some problems. I personally would not be surprised if all the healthcare companies have always had extreme security for the people that are in these positions. Because I don't know if y'all remember. Do y'all remember that movie that Denzel did? Put the name of the movie in the chat. I can't remember the name of the movie, but I think it was John Q. It might have been John Q. Remember that, where he took over the hospital with a gun because he couldn't pay the insurance and he couldn't pay the cost of the surgery and stuff like that. And there was a reason that movie was made, and I think that movie was made over 20 years ago. So, so this frustration with the healthcare system is not new. This frustration with the healthcare system, driven by economic issues, is something that people have dealt with for a very long time. And it's one of these things. If you want to criticize America, one thing you could say to criticize American capitalism is that you live in a country where people cannot afford to get sick. You can't afford to get sick. If you medical debt is one of the quickest ways to bankruptcy. There are people that work hard their whole entire life to accumulate a little bit of wealth, maybe $100,000, $200,000. You get sick one time and you don't have enough insurance, that money's gone. That money is absolutely gone. So, so really making sure you have adequate insurance and all that stuff is important. But even beyond that, the system is just a problem. And in fact, actually, by the way, if you stick around to the end of the video, I've got a stock that I'm going to buy believe it or not, it's in the healthcare industry, and and I'll share the stock so you guys can decide if you want to take a look at it or not. I don't give investing advice, you guys know that, but if I do see a stock that I like, I let you guys know, and you can go do your own research and decide if you want to participate. And also, if you could, please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. And also tonight, I'm going to do a session on how to make money without working, basically how to generate income from stock options. It's a great way to make money. If you guys want to understand stock options better, the event will be tonight about 8 o'clock. So I'll send out the link. If you want to get that link, you can get access to our free class that we do every single day by texting the word morning, MORNING, to the number 87948. So on your phone, text the word morning to the phone number 87948, and I'll send you guys a link to all of this stuff. We do a lot of stuff in the Black Business School. Now, with this said, let's talk about the healthcare system. And by the way, my heart goes out to Andrew Witty and his family. I don't celebrate the death of any person, but unfortunately, the healthcare system can also be accused of financially benefiting from the deaths of lots of people, and that's the dilemma. So here are a few stats that you might want to chew on in terms of how bad your healthcare system is. And money is the motive. Money is what drives this. And then I'm talking about this because my PhD is in money. So anything that's sort of driven financially, which is almost everything actually in the United States, I love to kind of sort of dissect it so you can understand a little bit better. First off, approximately 25% of U.S. healthcare spending is not even attributed to actually getting medication or making people better. I don't know if y'all know that, but 25% of the spending actually goes to administrative costs. So there's a whole bureaucracy built around this capitalist medical system that we have, where there are people that just get paid to push pencils and push paper around as they're sort of collecting money from people for serious healthcare issues. That 25% in other countries, that number is only 10 to 15%. So the depth of the bureaucracy here is greater than it would be, say, in European countries, which is interesting because we tend to believe Europeans have more bureaucracy than Americans do, and that's just not the case. In fact, I know I have a friend that lives in Denmark, and she told me that she got sick. She said, whenever I get sick and I want to take off for work, I don't have to ask for permission. I just take off from work because they give us sick days here and they want us to get better. And also, she said that when she went to the doctor, her son got really sick. And when she went to the doctor, the doctor treated her son, and then they sent them home. And I said, how much was the bill? She said there was no bill. So this is what healthcare looks like in other countries. In America, we have one of the really just actually, I'm going to read the stat to you, but I think America's last on earth in terms of developed countries when it comes to the quality of your healthcare system. In fact, despite higher spending on healthcare, Americans spend more than other people do. We actually have a shorter life expectancy than other wealthy nations, with factors like high healthcare costs contributing to this disparity. How many of y'all knew that? That literally, even though America spends more than any other country on earth when it comes to healthcare, our life expectancy is among the lowest of wealthy countries. That doesn't make no sense. That makes no damn sense at all. That's absolutely crazy. What else? I got some more stats here. Just some more stuff that you just kind of contemplate and chew on. The U.S. healthcare system ranks last in terms of access among high income countries when it comes to access to care, health equity, and health outcomes. Also, a significant portion of personal bankruptcies in the U.S. involve medical bills, highlighting the financial strain caused by healthcare expenses. I don't know about y'all, but that's just insane to me. That's absolutely insane. And actually, I saw something the other day from Kennedy or RFK. By the way, RFK is I didn't have any of the major politicians asked to come onto my podcast. I guess I'm not mainstream enough, and I don't care. I don't want to be mainstream. Kamala didn't reach out, and Trump did reach out, but Kennedy's people did reach out, and they wanted to come onto the podcast. I said no, because I don't like talking to politicians, and I didn't know if I felt like listening to his squeaky voice for a full hour, and also I just don't feel like the politicians are going to solve Black problems. I care about people that can really solve our problems. I did invite Dr. Cornel West on. I mean, he did come in, and I just did that mainly because I just like the guy. He's a good person. I just respect him, even if I don't agree with him. I just like him, and so anyway, one thing that made me second guess myself and almost not so much regret, because I still don't want to hear that squeaky voice for a whole hour, but I almost kind of questioned myself a little bit about whether or not I should have invited Kennedy in, because he actually said something that I thought was really profound about the healthcare system and how the money drives so much of their decision making. So let me tell you what I heard him say. He was talking about the pandemic, and a lot of y'all, I don't care if you got the shot or didn't get the shot. There was a lot of shenanigans going on in the pandemic. Do we agree? There's a lot of, people talk about democracy being taken away. I felt like democracy was stolen. Lots of people lost their jobs because they wouldn't get the shot. There were lots of lies being told, lots of contradictions, lots of people backpedaling and acting like they never said the thing that they actually said. It really, really bothered me. It still pisses me off. I'm not gonna lie. I'm still mad about it. Kennedy said this. He said that there is a little known law. I was shocked by this. He said there's a little known law that says that if you're trying to get a vaccine, emergency authorization of a vaccine, that there cannot be an effective alternative that can treat the virus. That if an effective alternative exists, you cannot get emergency authorization of your vaccine. Now, let me explain the two sides of this in terms of why this was significant. Number one, a lot of people don't know, there was about $200 billion that was made in profit from delivering those jabs to the public. Like that was a big fat money grab. My wife and I own stock in a company called Moderna. We owned Moderna stock before the pandemic began. When the pandemic began and Moderna was, when Moderna was sort of in the center of this conversation about the jabs, that stock probably went up 400 or 500%. We made so much money from that Moderna stock that we owned. So we did benefit from it. Moderna was in my portfolio. I'd even forgotten that I bought it, but I knew that I bought it after I saw how much it went up. That's the first part. So there's a lot of money on the line, right? When you talk about money and healthcare, you're really talking about big business deals being made behind the scenes. And sometimes these deals are at the expense of the American people, right? The American people are the ones, the taxpayers are the ones who are paying the bill for those shots, even if you didn't get one. Okay. So there's big money on this end. But they got a problem. And what is the problem? Well, the problem is if you're Fauci or anybody else, you're saying, well, how can I get this emergency jab approved if there is a reasonable alternative that exists? Those two alternatives that existed that thousands and thousands of doctors swore by were two drugs, if I recall, hydroxychloroquine and the other one, ivermectin. Anybody remember the words ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine, right? Though, and I was confused. I was really confused because one hand, I'm hearing from people that are like, oh, this is great. This will really work. On the other hand, I'm hearing people on MSNBC telling me, oh, these are horse tranquilizers. Only a fool would take this stuff. This stuff gonna kill you. So I didn't know what to believe. But well, according to RFK, he said that the $200 billion deal that was being made with pharmaceutical companies meant that they had to kill out any potential alternatives by any means necessary, even if that meant that they had to lie. So the whole campaign, where they specifically went out of the way to tell you that hydroxychloroquine was bad and that ivermectin was a horse tranquilizer that would kill you, that was driven by this massive financial situation that they were setting up with the pharmaceutical companies. And so if you want to ask me why, sometimes if I'm honest with myself and I'm honest with the world, I would say, I have to second guess my decision not to invite RFK onto the podcast because I'm not gonna lie, I don't dislike white people. I just don't trust y'all to solve black problems. I just don't. I regret it because he said at least 2 or 3 things related to money and government that I thought were incredibly profound, and I was extremely appreciative that he brought that to the attention of the American people. Another thing that he said that was really interesting was he talked about this war in Ukraine, and he said it's a money laundering operation. Basically, you get the money to Ukraine, but you're not really giving the money to Ukraine. You're giving it to Ukraine required with stipulations. Money is not given away without some sort of expectation. Everybody knows that. If the local dope dealer bought your daughter a diamond necklace, you might have to have a conversation with your daughter because she's probably giving something up to him to receive that type of a gift. So money is rarely just given without some sort of expectation or string attached. So when we gave the money to Ukraine, the string attached was, well, you've got to upgrade your weapon systems because we care about you. And because we care about you and we want you to upgrade your weapon systems, we've got these companies that you have to contract with called Lockheed Martin and Boeing or whoever, and they're going to upgrade your systems, but it's going to cost you. All that money we just gave you, we need you to flip that money right back and hand it right back to our partners over here. These people that got us elected, they made an investment to get us elected. And so we're returning their investment by giving them this government contract under the guise of protecting democracy and doing what's best for the Ukrainian people. So Kennedy, I respect this guy because those two facts, those two statements, I thought were profound. And if he's a genuine guy that really wants to implement the unearthing of these truths in a significant way in the government, I support him. I do because some of this stuff doesn't make any sense, and it's all connected to money, and it's your money. Your government's going into debt because they're using your money to fund their shenanigans. That pandemic, all that debt they took on to do that pandemic was completely unnecessary. They did not have to borrow that much money to get through the pandemic. And every economist that I knew was worth his weight in cornflakes literally was saying that if you spend this much money, if you go into debt at this level, you're going to have historic levels of inflation. And that is exactly what they got. That's why the cost of everything shot up like crazy. The cost of a house, the average cost of a house right now is over $400,000 for an average house. I remember, anybody else remember this? I remember back when a $400,000 house meant you were living good. You were balling if you had a $400,000 house. Now a $400,000 house is mediocre. That's insanity to me. The cost of insurance shooting up. So many things are higher now, right? So anyway, let's circle back to this CEO being killed. I don't know if the shooting was the result of something that his company did. I do know that I would never want his job in a million years because your company plays with people's lives for a living. You know, you're literally rolling the dice on people's loved ones. So I bet at least 10,000 times a day that there's some family who's heartbroken because of some decision that your company made where you traded a human life for a higher level of profitability. So this man's got probably more enemies than he can ever count. He's going to have security like Diddy or something, or like a mob boss, because the number of suspects in a crime like that is pretty infinite. It's quite infinite, and it's largely because your healthcare system is fraudulent. Your entire healthcare system is run by gangsters. And these gangsters are going around and putting people in debt, ruining them financially, taking their loved ones because they can't afford the medication. The cost of medication in the United States is higher here, even when you're buying the same drugs that are being bought in other countries. You go to another country, that same med is 30% cheaper, 40% cheaper, half as much, 80% cheaper in some cases. And this is wrong. This is wrong. This is the dark side of capitalism. This is the reason why don't ever call me a capitalist. That's worse than calling me the N-word damn near. If you call me a capitalist, I'm going to have to correct you and say, no, I don't, no, capitalist, no, I can't do that. Now, if you tell me I'm a believer in free enterprise and black wealth as a solution to problems that plague our community, then I'm with you. Touchdown. Good job. But so I believe in free enterprise. I believe that money matters. I believe that money is important. For many of you, the biggest sources of your challenges in life stem from money. So therefore, I believe that if we focus on our economics, that we will then achieve black power, liberation, freedom, all these other things we talk about. You can't be about it unless you have your economics together. That's extremely important. So that's what I believe. But the capitalism side, particularly the way it's practiced in America, is fundamentally problematic, corrupt, and it's ultimately, if it's allowed to be unchecked, it's going to eventually destroy your country. Okay. All right. Now, before I move on, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. I want to let everybody know I have a podcast on Spotify called Dr. Boyce Daily Stock Market. And that's where, as much as I can, when I get some time, I update you guys on what's happening in the stock market. I wrote my dissertation on the stock market. So that's really important to me. The stock market is the number one way that people get wealthy in this country. Every study says this. So if you want to go to Spotify, just look up my name, Boyce Watkins. You'll find my podcast there. Second of all, I want to invite everybody to feel free to take a look at some of the stuff that we have. We have resources. We have financial flashcards for your kids, financial workbooks for your kids. My new book, The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power, that can all be found at drboycebooks.com. So drboycebooks.com is where our Black Wealth Mastery store is located. So feel free to go to drboycebooks.com. We also put Dr. Claude Anderson's books there as well, because we love this man. We really do. All right. Now, we were talking earlier about, and I'm going to make a couple more points, and then I'm going to get to the stock that I mentioned that I'm buying today, and you guys can go take a look at it if you want to. So when you look at what's happening with the healthcare system and with what happened with this CEO, we know that healthcare costs is one of the great banes of existence for most Americans. The cost of healthcare is outrageously high. The other way that people tend to go broke in America is through student loans. Student loans are also the other economic curse that comes from universities basically being allowed to quite honestly, rob the American people by charging you $200,000 for a $30,000 education. Some other stats that are probably going to push your wig back a little bit is that if you look at prescription drug prices, the average per capita spending on prescription drugs in the United States is $1,162. In Canada, it's $807. In Germany, it's $766. If you also look around and you notice that when you're talking about where most Americans are financially, most Americans are not prepared for retirement. Most Americans are deep in debt. Credit card debt has hit an all-time high. Auto loan debt has hit an all-time high. Student loan debts hit an all-time high. Mortgage loan debts at an all-time high. So the pressure of capitalism, sucking the economic lifeblood out of working class people, is literally getting to a breaking point. And that breaking point, in my opinion, is going to lead to more incidents just like this. I think that this was only the tip of the iceberg. And I personally think that if someone doesn't sort of reconsider how we approach things economically in this country, you're really going to have a revolt. You're really going to have more people that really challenge the system. And also just in terms of medical debt, 18% of Americans have medical debt that's been sent to collection agencies. That's a big chunk. That's a fifth of all Americans, pretty much a fifth. In 2021, 30% of Americans reported delaying medical care in the prior 3 months because of the cost concern. So people are getting sick and they are dying because they are not getting their medication because they can't afford to get their medication. I think that's absolutely atrocious. In 2021, household health spending grew by 6%. Out-of-pocket expenses increased by 10.4%. So you think about this, right? The cost of healthcare is going up at this level every year. The cost of student loans in college is going up by this much every year. The cost of everything is going up by that much every year, but wages are not going up. So how in the hell is it that you're going to survive if the cost of everything's going up, rent's going up, food's going up, all that, but your wages aren't going up? The math does not math. The math ain't mathing. That's like telling me that that 1,000 minus 8,000 is going to be 2,000. That's no, 1,000 minus 8,000 is negative 7,000. If you take away more than you're giving, then you're going to have a deficit. The deficit shows up in the form of debt. That's why household debt is higher than it's ever been before. And it's going to keep on going up because people are now having to go into debt in order to survive. Also, a significant portion of the bankruptcies that happen in the United States are related to healthcare debt. And a lot of hospitals are requiring upfront payments now. It says here, hospitals and surgery centers are increasingly demanding patients to pay in full before procedures, leading to delays or avoidance of necessary medical care due to financial constraints. Back in the day, there was a time where you could go in and get the procedure and they would just bill you. And you just know, you weren't going to pay the bill anyway. So they would say, well, when can we expect payment? And you would say, well, you can expect payment whenever you want to, but getting payment is going to be another thing. So there used to be a time where people could go into debt to get a procedure done if it was an important enough procedure. Now they're making people pay in advance. Now, so that's a further lockdown on people and their ability to get things done. And if you don't think that this is an assault, a direct assault on your freedom and liberty as a human being, I encourage you to reconsider that thought. See, in every election, each party will always tell you that it's the other party that's going to destroy democracy. They're going to take away your freedom. They're taking your freedom. They're taking your freedom. Okay. Well, if I'm in a situation where I need to save my life with a surgery and you tell me I got to pay in advance and I got to pay $100,000 that I don't have, that doesn't feel like freedom to me. And at this point, I don't even have the freedom to stay alive. So don't you dare tell me that a politician or that some political party is taking my freedom. All these bastards are taking your freedom. The Democrats and the Republicans are heavy supporters of the healthcare industry. See, that lobby money that they put in place basically says, we're going to pay you to allow us to exploit and to extract wealth out of the American people. When the pandemic comes along and the healthcare industry wants to help out, they come in like the gangsters they are, and they say, okay, let's make a deal. You go to the American people, take $200 billion of their money, give it to us. We'll go make this jab, but we need you to enforce our gangsterism by using the power of the government to tell them that ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine and any other alternative is not going to work. You have to go out and lie on our behalf so that we can make sure that our vaccines get through and that we have the ability to make our money and tell everyone that they're only going to be safe if they do what we tell them to do. See, a lot of times the best way to control people is to scare them and then to take away other options. That's what pimps do. That's what pimps do. That's what, if you look up the, let me show y'all something real quick. Let me see here. If you look up the actions of an abusive partner in a relationship, the actions of an abusive partner, one of the actions that that consistently shows up is isolation and control. They will try to basically make sure that you have no other options. If I don't want you, nobody will. Or I need to move you away from your family because they're interfering in our business. Because the best way I can abuse you is to isolate you and take away any alternatives you may have, take away any freedom that you may have. And then I back that up with fear. Right? I scare you and I let you know, hey, look, if you don't go along with what I tell you to do, then these bad things are going to happen to you. Those other people are going to harm you, or maybe I'll harm you. I'll pull back the pimp hand and slap the hell out of you. Right? So ultimately, this type of economic gangsterism is what Americanized capitalism is built upon. This is where I probably sound like a Marxist, because I've studied some of the ideas of Karl Marx, and I think that they're very good ideas. He had legitimate criticisms of capitalism because he rightfully compared Americanized capitalism to a type of slavery. And that's what it becomes. When you get to the point where people can't afford to buy their medication, it's like either, when Diddy used to say vote or die. Remember that? Remember when Diddy was like the number one Negro mascot of the Democratic Party and he was telling everybody that you have to vote or you're going to die? Well, now they're telling you, okay, either pay your medical bill or die. And that's a bigger threat. That's real. That's 100% real. And so in my view, while I would certainly not go as far as saying that the healthcare industry brought this assassination on themselves, I'm going to say that that the way they do business needs to be reevaluated. We need to put humanity back into the system. I think that having them understand that you can still make your money and be a decent person at the same time is incredibly important. But capitalism doesn't allow a lot of room for that. It just doesn't. So I don't even know what the solution is. I don't think they're ever going to change the way they do business. You're going to see more of these incidents happen because there are people that literally get to the point. My father used to tell, my father's a wise man. He's a cop. He's a Vietnam veteran. And he's, sometimes he's a good guy. Sometimes he's just, a strong man, whatever that means. And one thing that he always said is that, he said, you never want to be in a situation where you're dealing with somebody who has nothing to lose, because that's going to be very dangerous for you. And what's happened in America, in my opinion, is that we've created an entire class of people where they've got nothing to lose. You've got people, if you tell a man, look, that your wife is going to die because you can't afford to get the medication. Well, for some men, they have nothing to lose. That's where the John Q's come from. And I think that there are a lot more John Q's out here in the world. Remember John Q, the Denzel movie, where he went to the hospital with the gun and all that. You're going to have a lot of situations like that emerge over time. And I hope that they'll think about this, because it's going to put pretty much anybody that's affiliated with your institution in danger. So anyway, that's my two cents. And I want to just make it clear, though, that I take no pleasure in seeing any of this happen. I don't wish this on anybody. I'm not blaming anybody in particular. I'm just sort of assessing the dynamics. And also, because I am a finance professor, I like to talk about how the money kind of drives things. And they really encourage you to just understand, like, you can go make your money and not go out here and do horrible things to people. I think that's what's really important too. I don't understand why greed is such an acceptable emotion in our society. Greed is damn near the devil. I'm not even a pastor, but I'm telling you, greed's going to make you into a person that you don't want to be. So go get yours. Be hungry. Go earn your money. Get rich. Buy yourself a Bugatti and a Lamborghini, whatever the hell you want to do. But then at that point, take some pleasure in supporting and giving to others and helping other people out. I just really don't understand why we don't talk about that enough. So anyway, guys, that's my 2 cents. I'm going to finish. Oh, by the way, I wanted to mention the stock. So before I do that, please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. Just a reminder, if you want to join us, we do financial consciousness training. I call it the Millionaire Training Camp. It's every single morning at 10 a.m. Eastern. Everybody's invited. It's 100% free. If you want to get an invitation, just text the word morning, MORNING, to the phone number 87948. So pull out your phone, text the word morning to 87948, and I will invite you to join us. And also, in case you don't know, we actually have some really smart Black women at Fly Nubian Money, and they do a show. They do the show every single day at 1:00, and it's basically smart Black women talking about a lot of things, particularly financial topics and just life in general. Dr. Lene Javette, Constance Carter, who owned the largest Black real estate firm in California, she's there. Dr. Alicia Watkins, my wife, she's a licensed professor and she's a licensed therapist and a full professor of social work. We have real estate experts like Lala Anthony, just so many great women. So if you want to be notified when the queens go live, we should support our Black women. Shout out to the smart Black women. I hear some smart Black women say that some men are intimidated by their intelligence and their success. Well, you don't find any men like that here. We're the men that love the smart Black women, not just we know all Black women ain't Sexy Red and Megan the Stallion and all that. I want to see the other parts of who we are. So if you want to join, text the word Queens to the number 87948, and they'll send you a notification when they go live. So text Queens to 87948. All right, so here is the stock I wanted to mention. I'm actually going to buy it as I talk to you guys about it. It is a stock. The ticker symbol is TRVI. TRVI is Trevi Therapeutics. Trevi Therapeutics. This is not investing advice. This is just a stock that I like, and I just researched it, and I said, hey, let me get some of this. So the ticker symbol was TRVI. Somebody type TRVI in the chat so everyone can see it. This is not investing advice because I don't give that here, but so do your due diligence. Pharmaceutical companies are a trip, though, because pharmaceutical companies have what is referred to in financial theory as jump risk. So jump risk means that a lot of pharmaceutical companies kind of hang on the balance where if something really good happens, they go through one clinical trial, and that's like kind of the big moment. So the stock gets what I call really pregnant, where it's pregnant with information. Something big is going to happen, like a big football game. And if they win, if the clinical trial goes through, sometimes you'll see these stocks, sometimes they can 10x on you like overnight. But if it doesn't go through, then you may end up with a situation where the stock drops as much as 80%, 90%. So just be ready for that if you decide to jump in. But Trevi, TRVI, is a stock that I just bought. I just bought a few hundred shares as we're talking. And the reason I like to buy stock while I'm talking to you guys in the podcast is to show you how easy it is. It's not hard to do. I don't want you to just sort of sit around and feel like it's like this great big thing. I want you to just kind of just do it. Just buy it, own it. It's yours. It's in your portfolio. You may forget about it. And don't be afraid. A lot of people are just scared of the stock market. And I think that because I just know it pretty well, I don't understand. It seems to me like you should be more afraid of being broke. I think broke is something to be afraid of. I'm scared of being broke. So instead of being scared of investing and being afraid of an amazing future or being afraid of wealth, I want you to fear the consequences that come if you don't think about wealth. You see what I mean? Like, I want you to fear what happens when you keep missing opportunities. Like, a lot of you have seen what's happened to Bitcoin and crypto and Ethereum and everything else going up. That shit, I'm sorry, I cussed. My apologies. That stuff is going up around you every single day, right? Like literally, this stuff is going up every freaking day. Everybody's talking about it. And sometimes we can think that because we missed the first surge that we missed out completely. No, you didn't miss out completely. You did not miss out. Crypto is probably going to have a great future. I think that there's every indicator says it will. Nothing's guaranteed. And there's other stocks out there. I mean, do you understand? There were people who didn't invest in 1992 because they thought, oh, well, I missed out. The market's already gone up. It's the Dow is at 2000 or whatever it was. I missed out. And in 1992 they didn't invest. Oh my God, an average house is $80,000. I missed out on real estate. I gotta wait till the prices come down. Don't do that. Don't make that mistake. 2024 is not the future. You're not living in the future. You're living in the past. So whatever things cost in 2024, they will probably cost 3 times as much in 2044. The Dow is at 40 something, whatever the number is. I can't remember what the Dow number is right now. But whatever it is now, it may be 3 times higher in 20 years. The average cost of a house, yes, is over $400,000. That's horrible. That's atrocious. But guess what? That $400,000 house is going to be $1.2 million in a couple of decades. So get on the freeway. The only way to build wealth in America is to invest. You can't work your way to wealth. You can't save your way to wealth because inflation is not ever going away. Deflation does not happen. Deflation is when prices go down. Deflation almost never happens. The best you'll get with inflation is disinflation. Disinflation is not deflation. Disinflation means you still have inflation, you just have less of it. So it's like we're not going to stop giving you the bad stuff. We're just going to stop overdosing on the bad stuff. So you're still going to get the inflation. Inflation, think of it like a car going down a freeway, right? Deflation would be if the car stops and goes in the other direction. No, disinflation means that the car's still moving in the same direction. It's just slowing down. Instead of going 80 miles an hour, it's going to go 60 miles an hour. Do you understand? Do you get what I'm saying? Like, give me a yes if you understand what I'm saying. So inflation ain't going away. The price of real estate will probably keep going up. The value of the stock market will probably continue to rise. Bitcoin at 100,000 may lead to Bitcoin being 300,000 2 years from now. So stop waiting for the past to arrive. The past is never coming. You missed it. It's gone. It's Black history. The only thing that's going to arrive in the future is the future. The only thing coming in the future is the future. The past will never arrive in the future. Do you understand what I'm saying? So make your move. Make it now. Get going. Stop playing. Jump in. Christmas is coming. Don't buy just a bunch of toys and a bunch of food at the mall and whatever the hell you're going to waste money on. Buy your kids some damn shares of stock and do it consistently. Do you understand that if your great-grandma or your mama had bought you $100 worth of Apple stock in 1992 or something, that Apple stock would be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars today? But instead, they spent that $100 on something that was worth absolutely nothing a year later. That's what you do. That's what happens. So spend your money, have fun, play around, waste your money, go to the club, pop bottles, pour some on the corner, on the curb for the homies, whatever it is that you want to do all of that. Just make sure you're also investing at the same time. If you do that, then you have that balance. Balance is the goal. Economic extremism is not something, that's not a language I speak, because I'd be a complete hypocrite, because I'm not an economic extremist. I'm only an extremist in terms of encouraging you to have balance. So maybe I'm either a balanced extremist or an extremist about balance. The balance means that your problem is not that you don't have access to money. Your problem is that you don't have access to economic balance. It's not that you're doing things wrong. It's that you're not doing enough right things to balance out the wrong things that you're doing, right? It's like if someone's eating chocolate cake and they're getting obese, it's not the fact that they're eating chocolate cake that's making them obese. It's the fact that you're not also eating your vegetables and taking your ass to the gym in between eating chocolate cake. All you're doing is eating chocolate cake. So my goal is not so much to push you to any extreme where you're uncomfortable. My goal is to help you just balance, because you're already at the extreme. If you spend all your money and don't save nothing, that's very extreme. If you invest nothing for your future and then can't understand why you don't have one, that's very extreme. So my goal is to get rid of the economic extremism and help you find balance. Just tilt the scale. Do you understand? Do you get what I'm saying here? So I'm not going to slap the Starbucks coffee out of your hand. I'm not going to make you feel guilty because you bought a Mercedes. I don't want you to feel bad because you went to the mall and gave the babies a good Christmas. Don't traumatize them. Be like, here's shares of stock. We don't buy toys in this house. Our kids don't get no. You don't get no childhood. You little son of a bitch. Yeah, like I'm not telling you. Don't do that to the kid. Buy the baby a toy. But then say, here's a toy, and here's some shares of stock, so that when you grow up, you'll know that your parents loved you enough to prepare you for the future. Can we agree on that? Is that something we can agree? We get, because I think I want us to be intentional. I don't want us just. I'm not here to entertain you. That's not my job. Sometimes y'all laugh at me. You think I'm funny, but just know that that's completely an accident. I'm just a goofy guy, and I'm a weirdo. So that's probably why people laugh at me. I want you to do something different in your life because we had a conversation. I want you leveling up, man. I want you to find the balance that you're supposed to have. Balance is beautiful. Balance is amazing. But you live in an extreme society, so the extremism is what keeps us feeling off balance. All right? So there we go. So that's the battle plan. All right. So anyway, guys, we do have a stock market program. If you want to do a free trial, you can go to drboycestockmarket.com. The URL's on the screen. Feel free to check it out. I think you'll like it. We're really good at what we do in the Black Business School. And also, I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me and hearing me out. I think it's nap time. I need to go take me a nap. See, balance. Got to get the nap. I work hard in between naps. Naps are very important. I should have been born in Indianapolis because I just love naps so much. And also, I'm going to go see my mama. So hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. Tomorrow, if you want to join us for class, the class is free. It's our Millionaire Training Camp, Economic Elevation. You can actually text the word morning to the number 87948 on your phone, and you can join us in class. So text morning to 87948. Also, you're asking, is Prime tonight? Yes, we're going to do Prime 101 tonight. Prime 101, that's our stock options income class. So if you guys do want to join, you can go check it out at drboyceprime.com. And tonight we're going to do Prime 101, which is for those who are beginners, or you want to reboot and you want to learn how I generate income selling stock options. That's how I make most of my money. It's a great way to make extra income, a great way to quit your job. It's the best type of investing I've ever run into. I do real estate too. The cash flow is just much, much higher, and it's much more efficient, much less troublesome, much less bureaucracy, much more liquid, just a much better experience. So if you're interested and you want to take a look and explore it as a wealth option for your family, feel free to go to drboyceprime.com. So have a good day, everybody. God bless you. Thank you so much for listening, and I will check in with you guys a little bit later. Take care now.